All right, we're live. What's up, Crown Council
Hey,
Live? Hey, I'm Stuart Anderson, joined today by Greg Anderson. Hey, nice background, man.
thank you. Thank you. I made that myself. Thank
Yeah,
you
very,
very much.
very cool. If you've never joined us before, this is our live broadcast where every week we spend an hour together connecting with our community, connecting with the things that are happening inside Crown Council, whether it's our resource partners or team members or dentists, upcoming events, new education. We just felt this is a cool opportunity to connect with our community and be together. So, Greg, welcome. What is happening in the world today of Smiles for Life? That is what we are doing here in the office. So, can you run us through a few things?
Yes, I'll bet what would be the most helpful is if I go through the most often asked questions
Okay,
of the week.
very good.
One is the official end of the campaign is June the 30th, but we allow this 30-day period until the 1st of August for everybody to finish up the whitening that they had scheduled. And then we do a hard cutoff on August the 1st so that we can prepare to send out the checks to the local charities. But the often asked question is, can I continue to whiten teeth and contribute money to Smiles for Life? And the answer is absolutely yes. The only caveat to that is that Ultradent, and God bless Ultradent for what they do for us, but we have an agreement with them to provide us free whitening kits for 4 months. So we can't ask them for whitening kits until next March. But if you want to continue to do whitening in your practice, Ultradent would be happy to sell you those kits. You can continue to do whitening, and then everything that we receive in our office after yesterday is actually accounted for in next year.
Very good.
And yesterday, we sent out a letter to every participating practice that's doing Smiles for Life, and it listed the total amount of money that the office raised, what the local charity was, how much money is going to the local charity. And just as a caveat to that, we have $13,000 of money in what we call the miscellaneous account. And these are contributions that are made from dental practices where you didn't, click the little dot that says give us credit for it.
Uh-oh.
So we, look at your totals, be sure they match what you've got. If not, there's some instructions in the letter on what to do, but we'd like to match up all of that orphaned money with the place it was donated. And if do you want to bring up the screen, Stu? We
You
just
bet.
We want to recognize every dollar, of course, that is has been contributed, and this is as of the 1st of August. And we put group office totals there at the top. We haven't done that all year long, but a big shout out to Mortensen Family Dental. $245,000 as a group this year is a
Incredible.
humongous effort. Same with
Yeah.
Lightwave. Southwest did some fun additional activities this year, but we have about 35 different practices that have contributed over $10,000 this year. And those we'll be recognizing specially at the annual event this
Yeah.
year. And we also have 4 or 5 offices that have reached over $100,000 in total giving, and we'll be recognizing them in the Crown Council Smiles for Life Hall of Fame.
Look at Chad Ellis, Smile Studio. Look at those guys. That is great.
Yeah, I think Chad maybe was holding on to some money.
Man, but he's a single practice, one practice.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Good for him.
Yeah, he has done a great job this year.
What an awesome list.
Great group. $1.4 million. We're busting through the $50 million mark. $50 million worth of total giving for Smiles for Life, and
Very cool.
there is some significant effort that is demonstrated in these numbers, and we're grateful to be able to recognize everybody and every dollar that was contributed. So
Yeah, and
thank you.
in the coming weeks, I'm working on getting these Mortensen Family Dental Practice charity champions to join us on the live stream to talk about how and what inspires all of these Mortensen practices to do so much work for Smiles for Life whitening. It is an incredible effort that this group gives. Just big kudos to them, and huge love to Ultradent for making this all possible. Without them, we're so grateful for that partnership. So
It's been a great year, and we were maybe behind a little bit going into the final week, and then in that final week we had some real solid contributions come in. So
very cool.
26
good.
years, Stu, 26 years.
Yeah, and a lot of neat changes coming up for the Smiles for Life campaign, where we are going to provide more opportunities for you to contribute to Smiles for Life charity throughout the year, and not just whitening, specifically with trays and a few other resource partners, which allow you to do Smiles for Life charitable giving throughout the year. So it's not just a 4-month practice. So very fun.
Yeah, new one coming up that we're testing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to say anything more about
good
it.
teaser. Good
Not
tease.
gonna. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to spoil it. But it's easy.
All right. Very good. That's a great recap. If you're not signed up for the annual event, which is coming up at the end of January, we are reaching that point where things with the hotel are starting to get, it's filling up. So now is the time, our busiest couple months, where people start to make those final preparations to attend and start signing up for the annual event in Austin, 2024. It'll be our 29th annual event. Our speakers are secure. We had Emily Gregory on a couple weeks ago. Really fun to hear from her and her crucial conversations topic. And then the beautiful hotel we're staying in, it's filling up. We got all our resource partners online this week to sign up and be there. And just going to be a great event. So on the crowncouncil.com website, you'll see annual event at the top. That's where you'll want to click to register and sign up to be with us. So very good.
80% of the rooms are filled. So
Man.
My advice always is don't wait.
Don't wait. Very good.
Don't wait. You
All
want
right,
a specific room, get it.
All right, we've got our first guest in the waiting room. If DJ wants to bring him in, grateful for Paul Lowry. Paul is from Dental Menu. And as Paul enters here, I'm going to navigate real quick to his resource partner webpage. Hey, Paul, I was just navigating to your page on the Crown Council website. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Stuart?
Very good. And you're on here with Greg. Grateful to have you on for, go ahead, Gregor. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, so this is your resource partner page. I'm sure we'll spend just a few minutes here, but as everybody that is on the live stream knows, all of our resource partners are found in our resource partner directory. So as you navigate to find a different resource partner, for me, the easiest way to always find them is I just search. So when I type in Dental Menu, up it pops, and this is your little page, specifically with contact information, your own personal website, and maybe we'll get to this today, some educational content that's also on here. So, hey, Paul, how are you? What's going on?
Great. Oh, just living the dream. Got some cancer taken off here yesterday. So
no way.
That's why I've got the big bandage, but yeah.
That's not just a special effect. That's not a filter, Zoom
filter.
filter.
A regular beating or anything.
No filter. Yeah, haven't been abused. I've
Very
been
cool.
abused verbally by my kids, but physically no.
We will not verbally abuse you on the show here.
Yeah.
Very cool. Hey, well, maybe will you introduce yourself and introduce Dental Menu, and then we've got some questions for you, and we'll just have a discussion about some topics and things you can teach the group. So, want to go ahead?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. So, kind of real quick background story. How Dental Menu got started. I mean, I was doing marketing for offices, lots of new patient generation, things like that. The offices we were working with all had membership plans. I mean, membership plans have been around a long time. They're not, new. But the thing that was crazy, Stuart and Greg, is we looked at data on all these offices, 250,000 patients, And what we found was after 5 years, only 12% of patients without dental insurance were still active in the practice. Again, these offices all had membership plans. And so that's initially we were trying to fix the marketing problem of, hey, we get new patients. If they don't have dental insurance, they don't stick, which means they've got to come back and do more marketing and do more marketing. And how do we fix this problem so that, there's a better ROI? The insurance patients were sticking around about a 62% range. And so you generate 100 new patients that have dental insurance, 6 out of 10 are still around. Whereas, only 12%, 1 out of 10 are sticking around without insurance. And so that's how Dental Menu is kind of born, is figuring that problem out. How do we create a better product for consumers on this menu idea? And then, once you've got that product, then you got to figure out, well, how are we going to actually manage it and facilitate it in the office?
Very good. Gregor, any follow-up questions there?
No, I think that self-pay, we're talking about self-pay folks,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
are really the backbone of people that we want in the practice. Not that insurance patients aren't great,
Yeah.
but if you can figure out a way to keep the self-pay practices going, and it also, for those practices that are going insurance-free, provides a great opportunity to add some glue.
And the crazy thing is outside of insurance. So, there's a lot of, oh, we don't like insurance. And the reason we're Dental Menu is a lot of practices haven't done a great job creating a menu of services that are easy to consume for those that don't have insurance. So we hate insurance, but if you listen to patient phone calls, new patients, it sounds like your front desk works for the insurance company, because they know all the ins and outs, and they know what you can get and what you can't get. And then you start asking, if you don't have insurance, they can't even give you a price half the time of what it's going to cost to come in for services. And so obviously that's a problem when your services, you haven't done a great job marketing those to people and presenting them if they don't have insurance.
Yeah. Paul, maybe you could talk about why does a practice need a membership plan? You listed a little comparison here in our notes. I'm interested to hear about. Okay.
I like to use the analogy. So there's, if you look at like a hunter, you look at how hunters get their food, or I like to use the analogy of a caveman. So if you think about a hunter, a caveman, he goes out, he tries to find the weakest of the herd, or he's following the herd. He gets this big animal, he gets this big kill, and he eats for a while. And once he's consumed that, he's got to follow the herd again. He's got to continue hunting, and he's got to go wherever that herd is. He's got to constantly be honing his skills and killing and eating and killing and eating. Well, I like to pose the question of what was the best invention for the caveman?
Refrigerators. I don't know.
Refrigerators.
Fire.
That's a good
Fire. Salt. I don't know.
fire, salt. So for this example, I like to say the fence.
Fence. Okay. Oh,
and the
nice.
reason I like to say the fence is he moved from being a hunter to being more agricultural.
Yeah.
So if he was raising his animals, he was planting his seeds, then he had predictive harvest. So if you take that for dentistry purposes, most of the people that are fee for service, their fee for service is more of hunting. They market. Let's look at Google, for instance. If you go to Google and you say, hey, I'm looking for a dentist, I'm in pain, I have tooth pain, you're going to get that case one time. You might get a really big case. You might get a huge woolly mammoth case. But those people, like what I was telling you, they're sticking around at a 12% rate. If you look at your hygiene department is your farm. So the patients that are coming through hygiene on a regular basis, those are the seeds you're planting. That's where you're going to get natural predictive harvest. So what happens if you listen to offices and you look at new patient flow, if they have dental insurance, the pre-appointment rate is sky high. And why is it sky high? Well, it's basically free. Why would you not come back in for an exam, cleaning, x-rays if you have dental insurance? And not everyone does, but essentially it's free. But outside of dental insurance, if you're healthy and nothing hurts, or you just drop $4K on a big case and they want you to come back in for $350, you're not real inclined to want to pre-appoint and come in on a regular basis. And so just imagine you're a scratch start. You start doing marketing, you start out where you have 0 patients and you're like, oh, hopefully I can have a 50-50 mix. Well, patients that have dental insurance are pre-appointing at an 80% rate. Patients without dental insurance are pre-appointing at a 12% rate. run that experiment for a while, guess what your hygiene is full of? Your hygiene or your farm is full of insurance, in-network insurance patients. And so when you expect to get natural harvest, when you've planted peaches and you expect to harvest corn and you wonder why you're not getting more fee-for-service production. So what happens is you turn into a hunter and you're spending all this money on the top end funnel marketing to get your cases in. Meanwhile, you're over here farming insurance patients, whether you like it or not, that's what you're farming. And so your practice becomes more and more and more insurance dependent because you don't have fee-for-service patients coming in on a regular basis through your farm. And so that's kind of the analogy I like to use. Your membership plan should get patients coming through preventative on a regular basis into your farm if you want to have long-term sustainable growth in this fee-for-service pillar. If you want to just hunt, you want to do those big cases, you can, that's fine, but it tends to get kind of exhausting. It's hard to build your practice long-term on that strategy.
This would be true of Smiles for Life patients. Smiles for Life patient that comes in for whitening, and if they're not an existing patient, you kind of get one shot at them.
Yeah.
And you got to have something like this to give them an opportunity to stick.
Yeah, for sure. And if you say, if they're, how much is it for an exam, cleaning, x-rays? First off, if you can't tell them, that's bad. Second off, if you have a $99 new patient special, well, what happens after the $99 new patient special?
They go find another guy that want to get $99.
Exactly. So you got to have a way to set them up for long-term care. And again, that farming mentality, I think, is really, really helpful to think about.
Yeah, great example. The fence. Very good.
Fence.
I'll know the answer to that one next time.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, so next question then. What types of membership plans do you see in practices? What kind of things are our practices doing?
Yeah, so this kind of ties into the farming analogy. You really have two buckets that we see. And if you remember when I first started talking, the clients we had quote unquote membership plans, but clearly they weren't working. You pretty much have a discount plans, and then you have actual membership plans. And again, we get in our way in dentistry. So going outside of dentistry, Stuart, if you and I were like, hey, let's go skydiving. Well, we've already decided to go skydiving. So now we're jumping on Groupon and we're trying to find the best deal possible, the discount. People that come to your door for the football, selling the fundraising cards, those are discount cards.
Yeah.
So you spend $30 and you get discounts to all of these vendors. A lot of membership plans we see are really discount plans designed to get people to accept treatment. If your plan is 2 cleanings, 2 exams, a set of x-rays, 20% off for $400 a year, that's fine, but it's a discount plan. They're buying for $400, they're getting discounts on cleanings and exams, 2 of them each, discounts on your x-rays one time, and discounts on their treatment, but they're buying it for the discount on treatment. So it's not a real continuity program. What happens is they buy it. It's more like, hey, I'm a hunter, so I'm going to have a rifle that's going to help me close treatment. And it's good. It's fine, but it's only one component. So what we see is patients sign up for the plan. They're on it for a year. Then they're off it for 2, 3, 6, 8, 12 months. And we talk to practice owners. Hey, tell me about your renewal process. Well, front desk is like, oh, everybody renews. And then you're like, all right, well, let's see how that goes. Well, when do they renew? Well, they renew and they come back in for services. It's like, well, Greg, if you and I went to the ice cream shop and we're already in line at the ice cream shop, and there's a way we can get a discount and we're already standing in line, why would we not try to get the best deal possible? Like, we already made the decision to go there. So it helps us buy more ice cream. Maybe we get a 3 scoop instead of a 2 scoop. But it didn't help us get into the practice in the first place. If you look at true continuity membership plans, they're like a gym membership. You pay every month, you get access to services, whether you use it or not. Netflix doesn't call and say, hey, Greg, have you liked our content? Do you want to renew for a year? And we'll even finance it monthly. And you're like, you know what? I haven't turned that on for 3 months. I'll sign up when I'm ready to. And so building a true continuity program means you sell it one time. They always have teeth. That's what I love about dentistry. Every single patient needs these services on a regular basis. So why are you reselling them every year? Set it up one time, set it up as a continuity, give them access to cleanings, exams, x-rays at certain intervals. Now, what happens if, Greg, if I asked you, do patients come in doesn't matter, insurance, uninsured, do they come in right at 6 months every single time for their cleaning?
Well, generally, of course not. But the best offices are sure that they do.
So we hope they do, and the best offices definitely do, but they also, it might be a week off or 2 weeks off, right?
Or 3
Because
or a
the
month, or
schedule.
7 months instead of 6. Yeah.
For sure. So when you run it as a continuity program, they get access to a cleaning every 6 months. If they come in at 6.5 months, they get the cleaning, but their benefit eligibility kicks back out 6 more months. So when they call you and they say, hey, I'm going on vacation, can I move my appointment 3 weeks? You're like, sure, happy to move it for you. But you just got 3 weeks more of payment essentially for moving it for them. You're very accommodating. It's great for patients. But on average, you're getting 13 monthly payments, 14 monthly payments for those 2 cleanings, not 12. The other thing you avoid is, and how many, this is really common. You buy 2 cleanings a year. Month 13, the patient hasn't got their second cleaning, but they also are no longer active and they want their second cleaning. You either have to give it to them or you got to try to tell them why they got to pony up another $400. It's like, but I didn't get my 2. I bought 2. And so it's never in the favor of the practice. It's always in the favor of the patient, but it's also in the favor of the patient not doing what's best for their oral health, which is delaying cleanings. They think they're saving money. That's not the way to take care of your teeth, is to not come in consistently for preventive. So we're obviously big on continuity programs. A lot of stuff we see too is, we can help create some add-on benefits, but why not sell Botox in a subscription? Why not sell whitening in a subscription? Why not have a Premier membership where they can add Premier services like nitrous, access to Pano 3D imaging, access to these other services for an additional $15-20 a month? They add that to their plan. Now you're getting $50-60 a month. When they come in, they need a Pano, it's included. You don't have to have the conversation of, well, here's what it's going to be. Take the images, diagnose the treatment, but you don't need to give it away because they don't have insurance. But you also might not get $400 for the Pano. You might need to sell them an any and all x-rays package for $8 a month, but you're not having that sales conversation. Hygiene does not want to have a sales conversation about fluoride every time a patient's in. So a lot of people include fluoride in their plan, which is fine. You can do that. But we found if you strip it out as an add-on, you can get 90% of patients to pay you another $3 a month for fluoride on their plan. If you educate them in the back office, sell it to them one time, but every time they come in now, they get fluoride, but you're getting another $36 a year instead of just giving it away anyways and including it in your plan for $25 a month, because no one buys your plan because it includes fluoride or has an emergency.
Right.
It's just something. But imagine the psychology of sales. If emergency exams and emergency x-rays are $1 a month, if you add that to your plan, where do you think a patient's going if they break their tooth or something on a Saturday? They're going to wait because they're paying for the benefit instead of you devaluing it by just giving it to patients.
Smart.
So anyways, there's a lot of fun stuff we've seen.
Yeah, very cool. One thing, and you sent me this question, but it isn't, when it comes to accounting for all of these things, I assume that's probably a big hang up when a practice wants to swap over to a membership revenue. How do you suggest they account for the money and how this works?
Yeah, so we've spent a lot of time around this, and one of the reasons we're excited to partner with Crown Council is when you move from being just a dentist and you're doing work, it doesn't really matter how you account for things. But when you start moving into being a business owner, you've got to, and especially if you have associates and hygienists, if you're paying them on production collections and you're just adjusting everything off in your membership plan because it's free. So on the ledger, you're showing zeros on production collections. Your providers are getting 0 credit when they do services within your membership plan. They're not going to be super happy. They're not going to promote your plan. I've had hygienists say, oh, I don't sell anybody the plan because I get paid more on PPO insurance patients as a provider. Well, that's terrible. It's structured wrong. So there, to be short in the answer is, and we've got education around this, but when patients are paying you every month, the problem is you've got collections coming in, but there's no production at that time. And so what most offices do is when they get the exam cleaning x-rays, there's production produced, they're adjusting the collections to 0 because it's quote unquote free. And so they've got all these extra adjustments on the ledger for included benefits. It messes up practice valuation. messes up all their KPIs. If they're using analytics software, they can't compare things accurately. So we've got a way, and we do that with some offices too. Some offices want to do it that way, and it's great. But we have a way where we actually account for the revenue so that they can recognize the collections to match the production at time of service. And it also will show them the breakage in the plan. And so it's anybody that's listening, if you want to match your collections with your production and your bank statement with your membership, which is a big issue, we help with that. And your providers are going to get credit, but more importantly, your KPIs are going to be accurate, because when you actually do the exam cleaning x-rays, we actually trigger a payout from your merchant account for those services so that everything matches up, and it's a way cleaner option for accounting for the revenue. So we've got like a 15-minute video that's free to watch that kind of goes through the process and has some slides that show a ledger. It's a lot more clear, but just if you're having pain points around the accounting and having your collections production match, we've worked hard to solve that. We've got integrations with Eaglesoft Dentrix and Open Dental as well. So when you walk the patient out in Dentrix and you actually notify Dentrix, hey, they got an exam cleaning x-rays, it triggers this payout. So everything matches up based on you checking them out in the practice management software, which is anybody that's got 200 plus members, they'd be like, oh, that's amazing. If you don't have a robust plan and you're starting something out, you probably don't know yet that that's an issue, but it will be an issue.
Very cool. Nice, Paul. Paul, this is very good. Very smart. I'm going to navigate one more time to your page. Is this the right page? And when I click here, a lot of more information, education about how membership plans work. Some great stuff here. I haven't watched any of these, Paul, but really smart to include this education along with your own personal website. And then is this the best way to get a hold of you, Paul? Should they call you, or should we go here to the Dental Menu website and schedule the demo? What's best?
I mean, you can schedule a demo. My email, and I don't care if we put it on that page, is paul@dentalmenu.com.
Okay.
And we're real open with our stuff. If you want to run some stuff yourself, like, we're happy to chat and tell you what we've learned and give you some pointers. And we're real open. That's the education. You don't even have to put in your email address. Like, it's just free. Just watch it. And so if anybody wants to chat with me, happy to have you just reach out to me directly if you'd like to with that email, paul@dentalmenu.com. You can schedule a demo, and I try to do as many of those as I can, because that's one of my favorite things, is to chat with different offices. So go ahead and schedule and we'll chat with you. But again, feel free to reach out to me directly too if you want.
Very cool. Any final questions, Greg?
I am a big fan of recurring revenue.
Mm-hmm.
This is a genius way to do it.
Yeah.
I applaud what you've built there. A strong recurring revenue source where, when you wake up in the morning, you know that you've got a group of people that are tied to you both out of loyalty and financially, is a great idea. And so, yes, big fan of recurring revenue, and membership plans are a great way to do it. You guys have built something smart.
One thing I do want to point out that's unique too is everything we do is white labeled. So it's still branded for the practice. And we actually set up a merchant account for the practice. So the patients are still charged from your practice. We're invisible.
Nice.
So sometimes it's a little bit scary, because if you're handing all your patients to a third party, you lose that revenue stream, really. With the way we set it up, you control your own revenue stream. Even if you were to get rid of us, you still control your own revenue stream. So we set things up a little bit differently than a lot of people in the industry. And that's part of the reason why is to make sure that you, like you're saying, Greg, you want to control your own recurring revenue stream too. You don't want a third party. That's insurance too. And so we got kind of a unique way, but we want to make sure your patients are charged from your practice and they're being connected to you and your practice as a provider, not to us. We're just a software to help facilitate it.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for joining us.
Having me. Okay, appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Bye.
Smart. Wow. What a resource. What a solution.
Well, there's sure a lot of guys that do self-brain surgery on this.
Yeah.
And, you know, smarter to go with somebody that has had some experience in knowing exactly what works.
Hey, so our next little piece here, our little educational piece, is a really fun, different story. It's actually one of a kind, which we hope inspires the rest of the people watching. Lisa Valencia is the only Crown Council team member who took it upon herself to become a lifetime qualified member. So if you don't know what that is, there are 8 requirements that we would say a dentist can do throughout a year to be a qualified practice, qualified member. They're very simple, things like meeting with a financial planner, meeting with your lab, having an education plan, having a charitable giving plan. But these are 8 different things that we have found over the last 30 years the best practices do. And so Lisa saw her doctor completing these requirements and said one day, she said she was just, I'll have her tell the story, but she said she was sitting at an annual event and said, I want to do this.
I can do that.
I can do that. And so so for 5 years in a row, she completed the qualified member requirements and became the only team member who is a lifetime qualified member. And it has inspired others to do the same. But I sat down with her with this little 15, 16-minute long interview to talk about that journey, what she learned, and just a few things to share with the rest of the Crown Council group. So I'll play that recorded interview that we also turned into a Mentor of the Month recording. So we'll put that up on the website and the podcast. So, all right, I'm going to share my screen, make sure I do this right. All right, good to go. All right, welcome to Crown Council's Mentor of the Month. I am Stuart Anderson, and if you're watching the video, I am joined today by Lisa Valencia. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Stuart.
And you're coming to us from beautiful California. Is it beautiful today, or what's going on?
No, I am in San Francisco, and we are in that tropical
Yeah,
kind of rain.
crazy.
More than normal. More than normal.
I know, what are they called? The atmospheric river is coming at you.
That was it. It's a river. Yes.
Hey, very good. So, as you know, or maybe you don't know, if you're tuning in for the first time, Mentor of the Month is an opportunity for us to connect with members of the Crown Council, both doctors and team, to hopefully establish some community between us, but also to learn best practices from each other, connect the things that we're doing that are working, and especially to just feel a little more like we are not doing dentistry alone. And Lisa's story is so good. If you went to the last, 5, 6 annual events, you've seen Lisa on stage, and she was just joking around about it. So she is a team member, but is also a lifetime qualified member as part of the Crown Council. Received your lifetime qualified membership in Salt Lake City. And I thought it would be fun to hear that story about how and why a team member was inspired to become a qualified member. So can we start there, Lisa? How about I do a quick your biography real quick? Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You've been practicing clinical director, hygienist for the last 18 years, and currently works in a general practice in San Francisco, California. Began her career as a dental assistant, then a front desk team member, and progressed to dental hygiene. Lisa has more than 25 years of experience in dentistry, including cosmetic, restorative, oral sleep medicine, conscious sedation, and general practices. And right now you're doing a Bachelor's of Science in Dental Hygiene. Very cool. Where are you doing that?
It's asynchronous. It's all online, but the campus is in Foothill, California. So just southern South Bay area.
Very cool. And then maybe give a little background. Where did you start? Whose practice were you in when you started Crown Council?
Dr. Richard L. Plash in Hayward, California.
Okay. And talk about your journey real quick of becoming a qualified member. Can you do that?
Yeah, I was thinking about, how I started this journey. And I remember being in Phoenix at the Crown Council annual event. And it was like that one, again, with crazy weather, like we didn't pack for cold.
It was so cold.
Like flash freezes. We went to Sedona. Dr. Plash and my office manager had the great idea of going at 4:00 in the morning on Thursday before Steve Anderson's session and going to Sedona and checking it out. And I was like, I'll go, but I'm bringing my blanket. So I remember the catchphrase for that event was "Rise Above," and I remember sitting by Dr. Plash and seeing, like, he was a charter member and was lifetime qualified even before I started practicing with him. And I remember seeing, I think it was a resource partner was like on the track too, and I was just like, I was like, is there a hygienist? I turned to Dr. Plash and I was like, is there a hygienist? Like, can I be you? So, and he's like, I don't see why not. And Nancy, the office manager, was like, I'll contact Rachel and see what we need to do. So, and it took a couple of years to like get it up and like running. Just because, just like, I was like, how do I change these so it's not a dentist? So I just kind of took the hygiene as its own little practice.
Okay.
So like, I don't have a lab. I don't do crowns and stuff. So I was just like, well, my periodontist is kind of my lab. Like most of my patients get referred to him. I was just like, let me call the 2 periodontists. And then it was such good feedback, or they were like so happy to hear from me, like nobody calls, like to see how, my big question is do the patients, when they come in, do they still have questions? Like, are we missing the ball when they're in there? And so I started talking with the endodontist then at that point, and then the oral surgeons, making sure that the patients we referred over, like that flow was good. So I think that's my favorite part about every year calling. I call twice a year, or I stop by sometimes too, just to say hi. And like, that way I can actually tell the patients, like, I've been to that practice. It's really nice. Like,
nice.
Yeah. So
very cool. I mean, as a team member, I imagine, this is my personal opinion, most team members are sitting in a practice and they say to themselves, well, my doctor is working with us to become qualified member. Like, what is this? What's in it for me? Why would I do this on my own? Why would I make the effort? What would you say to those team members? Why is it worth it?
Oh, that's a good question. I think in my case, he had done it so long ago that it was just reinstilling that culture, those values of those 8 practices you have to do. We had them there, but it gave like a reason why to like the current team members on the team. Like, oh, this is why we do it this way. Or like I said, you switch it up a little bit, like what's currently going on in the practice that this can do. And actually, Dr. Plash has since now passed away, so I'm no longer with his practice. So it's nice. Sorry, I'll get teary-eyed a little bit, but it's nice to have that when I'm working at these other practices, to have that culture. Like, it's me, like I can continue that legacy for him. Yeah.
It's okay to cry for Dr. Plash. Absolutely one of the best men of all time. And whenever I think about him, I think about, you would always post on your social media your picture with him at the annual event. And I loved that you respected and honored him, just for the journey that he took you on, and the amount of work he did to be a leader and example in Crown Council. Absolutely. I never want to forget him, and what just a great man he was. Sorry, Lisa. But
oh no, it's fine. Like, it's good.
Agree.
It's good tears. It's just, he was a good dentist. He was a good man. He was a good mentor.
Yeah. One of the best. I guess that leads me into one of my questions, which is, why dentistry? What led you from an influence perspective into a career in dentistry?
Oh gosh. I never wanted to be in dentistry.
Okay.
I always tell people ask me this, because my aunt and my uncle are both dentists. They both still practice. And I go in every so often to my uncle's practice because he's near me, just to help out here and there. But I got a job right out summer I graduated high school. My mom's like, get a job while you're going to college. So I got a job with Nancy, who was the office manager for Dr. Plash. Previously, I was with her at another practice and was just working on weekends. After school, I'd come in and work. And then she left to join Dr. Plash's team, and I switched paths. Like, I was just surrounded by the dental world, and I was just like, I like this hygiene aspect. And I was like, the dentistry looks pretty good too. So I switched my major from psych to dentistry, like the hygiene dentistry route. So, and I got into hygiene school before I was done with my prereqs for dental school. So I'm just never look back. I do joke to my patients that now I get an hour chair time to guilt them into flossing daily. The psychology degree, the classes that I did take, I do utilize.
Guilt is not a powerful motivating factor. Very good. Hey, you've seen a lot of dental teams over the years. You've been a part of probably a lot of team members throughout your career. Maybe some lessons learned about what successful dental teams do.
Oh, that's a good one. I want to say probably the cross training. Like, we were very adamant about, you don't need to be an expert at how to make appointments, but you should know how to make them. Or like our front desk team would come in the back and they would know how to, turn the room over. They might not necessarily, do it in like the most strategic way, but it's going to be done properly that you can seat the next patient in there. And I've just, by default, because I worked my way through all the channels and all the positions of dental in the dental profession, that I just kind of have that back there. And it's really nice. Like, if I don't have a patient, I can like go up front and confirm patients. Or that was my other thing when thinking about this, was I always check in before the end of the day. Like, I'm saying goodbye to everybody, but I always start with like, is there anything I can do before I leave?
Nice.
Like, yeah. I always start like in the back and then move my way forward. So that way, people know I'm leaving, and then also, did something, it kind of creates an opening for them. Like, do we need to have a chat or discuss something? Or is there something that needs to be done, that you just don't have time for?
Nice.
I think it's that, how may I help you versus help me?
Right. That's good. Great advice. And when you interact with, because now I assume you've worked with or been with multiple doctors, what is one thing that you have found that really helps a doctor be a good leader? Or what can a team members that are listening, what can team members do to help that doctor be a good leader?
I think that's my current doctor. I think we're only like 2 years in. We do mini lunches every so often, like just to sit down and like debrief, like what's been going good, what's been going bad. And we try and do that quarterly. And then also at the end of the day, like if I can't be in for an exam, I check in with her, like, what did you diagnose on this patient? So that way I can learn, how to better prepare the patient before she comes in to diagnose. Like, and I think that being with Dr. Plash for so long, like I knew whether he was going to do a filling, an onlay, or a crown. When I'm with a new dentist, I don't quite know what they're going to do. So just kind of checking in with her all the time, and then having those set meetings to and that's our purpose, is to touch bases with each other.
Nice. Very good. If you were going to travel back in time to talk to Lisa when she began her work, what would you say to young Lisa just starting? Any things you've learned that you would regret or do different, or absolutely you do the same? And any advice you'd give to yourself?
Ooh. See the chiropractor way early on.
Okay. Nice.
Definitely, yeah. And then chiropractor, massages. I've always done yoga, and I found early on, like if I missed even once a week yoga, just keeping your body healthy, because it doesn't feel like it's taxing in the beginning, because I did 5 days a week for I think my first 10 years. And you just don't notice stuff. And now that I'm almost 2 decades in, I'm like, ooh, like that's not supposed to feel that way.
Right.
So possibly, just extending that lifetime with body care.
Yeah, great advice. Very good. Nice, very good.
I don't regret anything off the top.
Any skills or culture training things that stand out from Crown Council, or things that you've learned here that are worth talking about, or stuff that you use today?
Oh, I touched on a couple. What ones haven't I touched on? I think they're happy to do it. I love telling people that, and they're just kind of like the little, instead of saying, other
No
things
problem.
happy to do. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Or the just it's not just do it, but do what you ought to do when you ought to do it, whether you want to or not.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that goes way back. And then my sister did Eagle U, and that, I think, creating that culture in the young, like my son's only one, and if it's still around, he's going, like, so yeah, and still like taking these lessons and like immersing them into your personal life as well too. I don't like, it doesn't just stop in the dental office. You can bring everything Crown Council has into your personal life too.
That's awesome. Very cool. You're moving forward. You're not working in a practice right now. You just said you are the Crown Council in your practice. As we kind of wrap up, what is that like? How is that working?
It actually, one's my uncle, so he just kind of like goes with my flow.
Okay.
The other one, like, just trying to, it's like, what is Crown Council? Like, trying to explain that to the dentist. And it's like, these are like the keystones of what creates good practices, good patterns. So, and she's been on board with it. She's interested in it, but she hasn't quite taken that step to
Okay. That's all right. It's okay.
to do it. But I notice like little things will pick up, like, because I'm only there once to twice a week, but I'll notice some changes, like, because we do have a couple shifts in team members lately. So, and then I'll just chat with them and be like, hey, this is why I do it this way, and they're like, oh. So yeah,
Very cool. Lisa, you are a model team member, an absolute leader amongst all Crown Council team members. You are the best. I'm just grateful to share some of what you've learned over the years and just your personality, your attitude. I'm sure every office in Crown Council would love to have you as part of their practice.
okay.
Any concluding thoughts before we wrap up?
Oh, don't just can keep coming to Crown Council, and just I think everybody that's part of Crown Council, just they're amazing. They're good mentors to me, and then just good examples to just keep educating yourself, keep learning, keep evolving.
Coming from the one team member who is now a lifetime qualified member, you are the person that everyone's looking to. Very good.
And I'm open if anybody wants to get a hold of me, or next event, if you want to chat with me, like, I'm completely open. Come up and say hi.
Very cool. All right. Pattern your career after Lisa. We're super grateful for you and your example to the rest of the group. So appreciate you.
Thank you, Stuart.
All righty. What'd you think? Oh, you're muted.
She is a good one.
Yeah. So I went back and looked at all of our old annual event photography and put together all those pictures. So every year when she would come to the annual event, she'd take a picture with Dr. Plash on the stage, same picture right before dinner. And it is really fun to see that progression of coming to the annual event so many times. So it's been a great journey for her, a really fun team member. And I'd love to connect with more. There are many Crown Council team members like that it would be really fun to connect with and share their story with the community. So I'll work on that for the live stream in coming weeks.
Hey, it should not go without saying though that Dick Plash has the most extensive collection of Crown Council memorabilia
He did.
of any human.
I should have had the picture of him. Do you remember when he dressed up as the Tooth Fairy 2 for Smiles for Life? It was so good. Just a incredible man. So
At the second annual event, we gave away kind of like a golf hat. So this is now a quarter of a century ago. And at the last annual event he came to, he wore that hat.
I remember.
And I don't think he wore it, except at the annual event, but he must have like a closet that he kept that in.
Yeah.
nice that you'd remember him today. What a great
Yeah.
man.
Great man. Hey, well, I had one more segment to share, but it is a 25 minute long interview with a good friend of mine who is a culture coach for Adobe. And I think I'll save it for another time. I don't want to cut it short. We've had a great program. We went a little long with Paul, which was good. Learned a lot from him, and I think we'll just leave it there if that's okay, Gregor. We'll
bet.
save that for another time. Very good. All right. Well, we'll see everybody next week. We've already got the show planned. Looking forward to being together with the community and sharing some great stories. So that's it for today.
Good
And
day.
we'll see you
Thank
next week.
Stu. All
Thanks,
right.
Greg.